Welcome to this episode of Critical Mass Radio Show. I am your host, Rick Franzi, and we have a great show planned for you today. Our first guest is Harris Glasser. He's author of It's My Money and I Want It. This business talk show airs live on Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 4 p.m. and Thursdays at our special time of 3 p.m. Of course, all of our shows can be heard live exclusively on Orange County's only community radio station, octalkradio.net. If you're listening to this show as a podcast, we encourage you to listen live during our broadcast times. This show is brought to you by our advertisers, Brandman University, Center Club, Decision Toolbox, MBN Design, Smart Business Magazine, SNH Rubber, Succession Strategies, Tone Software, and UPS Protection. The goal for this show is to help you, our listening audience of CEOs running middle market firms, to improve your decision-making skills. Harris, welcome to the program.
Wonderful to be here.
Let's start very simply by asking you to tell us a little bit about your background.
Sure. When I was 20 years old, my dad lent me $5,000. I went into business bidding small construction contracts for the city of New York. By the time I was 28, I had 69 contracts running. No computers back then, no cell phones, all files, not even copying machines. And I was pretty much ready to pack it in. I mean, things were good. It took me 4 years to wind it down. Did some traveling, then started another business, indoor farming business.
What's that? What's indoor farming?
Indoor farming, hydroponics. Okay. Started growing back then. Sprouts were a big thing.
Sure.
All right. Started off with 6 little packets. Inside of 2 weeks, we were shipping half a ton a week down to New York City.
Wow.
Sold that. Moved down to Florida. Replicated it down there. Sold that. Came back to New York. My sons were getting older at this time. Started a car rental business, daily car rental. Started with 4 vehicles. Worked it up to almost 80 vehicles within about a year and a half. And then just applying some good business stuff. Never liked to work hard. I think you could make money working easy, enjoy more.
Whoa.
We're able to reduce it down to 48 vehicles, worked less, easier, made more money. Sold that. Did some more traveling. Came back to New York. And right now, took time to write the book. Small contracting business, small little college wholesale textbook business, keeps me busy. And I come out here twice a year for a month.
Well, that's nice. It's good to be out here, especially this time of the year, isn't it? California.
It's
out here being California, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Harris Glasser is our first guest on the radio show. So you're a serial entrepreneur then? By definition,
so.
you
Okay.
start and sold successful businesses.
Yeah.
How did you get into these different businesses? What is it about car rental or indoor growing that got you? Okay, I can try that now. I was successful here. I'm going to give that a shot.
Okay, first of all, I always like challenges, like the contracting, for the city and state and federal agencies. It got boring after a while.
After you did it and you were successful?
Yeah, and I didn't necessarily make zillions of dollars. To me, success is defined as also having a quality of life.
Right.
Okay? That's something a friend of mine once said, you live better than rich people. I said to him, why? And I knew why. He said, because rich people are always in their office trying to make more. He said, you seem to have just a great quality of life, working easier, and having more, enjoying more at a beautiful pace. So success to me is a combination of not necessarily zillions of dollars, but really being able to enjoy a quality of life.
Right.
Spending time with the kids, a little time in the office, that stuff.
So you have 2 boys? Is that what I heard?
2 sons.
Two sons?
One is 45, one's 47.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, they're all grown up men now.
Oh yeah, with 3 granddaughters out here. That's why we come out here.
All right. Oh, one of your sons is out here?
Yeah, with the 3 granddaughters.
Nice. Well, yeah, I'm sure you have to come out here to see them, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
What started the indoor farming thing? We were hanging out upstate New York, originally from New York. We moved up to upstate New York. You could just hang out for so long, right? And my wife said, gee, I was reading an article where these couple of girls growing some, alfalfa sprouts, which she used to grow for our salad at home. She said they made it into a business. I said, okay, we have nothing to do. The first week we grew 6 bags, rode 100 miles to New York, and I go, no, this is not happening. I guess I'm back in business. Put together some business sense. And like I said, within 2 weeks, we're shipping a half a ton a week.
Wow.
That was nice. We sold it because, okay, we did it. You know?
Did it. Been there, done that.
My mom was down in Florida, so hanging out, what to do. Okay, let's do the same thing. This time we're supplying all the supermarkets down there. Also sold that. I'm in New York. I came back to New York.
Right.
Looking for something to do. A friend of mine who was in a car business said, hey, you looking for something to do with the kids? I said, yeah. He says, hey, I'll hook you up with some cars, get you with Chrysler. I said, okay. So with 4 cars. And after a few months, I go, oh, no. Okay. We got to get this thing going. Boom. Within a year and a half, we had 80 vehicles out there.
Wow.
And then sold that.
See, the skills are transferable. Build a successful business in one industry. You can apply the lessons learned and good business sense, I've heard you say.
Yes. When I was getting married, I was working for my dad and his partner. And they were paying me, I was getting $65 a week, which even back then, 50 years ago, still was not a lot of money. And I said, Dad, I'm getting married. He said, what you're learning is worth $1 million because you're going to be able to apply it in any single business you go in. And he was right.
Right.
He was absolutely right. You know, business, you just learn the things of the particular business, but the rules stay the same.
That's what I believe. Like 80% of a business are common, right? 20% is unique to maybe the different car rental or hydroponics, but 80% is transferable. That's why we do this radio show.
And you know what that 80% is? Relationships. There you
go. Write that down, ladies and gentlemen. Bang the gong, Mr. Engineer. We got a teachable moment here on Critical Mass Radio Show with Harris Glasser. We're going to take our first commercial break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about your book. I'm interested in understanding the inspiration for writing It's My Money and I Want It. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Right back after these words from our commercial sponsors.
Can we talk about your family business? You know, that thing you put your whole life's blood, sweat, and tears into? Well, what happens when you retire or try and pass that business on to your children? At Succession Strategies, we can help you find the answers. We'll guide you through the unsettling process of protecting your family legacy and successfully passing your business on to the next generation, safely and securely, ensuring that it'll both survive and thrive for generations to come. So ask yourself just one question. Can I really afford to wait? Take the first step. Take our complimentary self-assessment at successionstrategies.com or call us at 714-560-9022 to set up a free consultation at your convenience. That's succession-strategies.com.
Today's businesses are embracing voice-over IP telephones and unified communications desktop technologies to more effectively communicate and collaborate with their customers, suppliers, and colleagues. The Reliatel management software from Tone Software Corporation helps organizations of all sizes manage their communications technologies to ensure great voice quality and better levels of service and reliability throughout their business. Through Reliatel, you'll gain higher return on investment from VoIP and unified communications technologies while lowering the associated operational support and maintenance costs. Learn more. Visit www.tonesoft.com or call 800-833-8663 for information on Reliatel by Tone Software, the solution for quality business communications.
Richard Franzi is a highly sought-after keynote speaker on topics of interest to CEOs of middle firms across North America. Richard's talks include Killing Cats Leads to Rats, a fascinating look at how unintended consequences of CEOs' decisions impact their firm's performance. Your Gray Matter Matters, which explores how a CEO's mindset can differentiate a middle market firm and define its culture. Richard delivers talks to a variety of audiences, ranging from executive team retreats to keynotes in front of hundreds of CEOs. To learn more about his talks, visit criticalmassforbusiness.com and select the contact page or call 949-887-4104.
Welcome back to this edition of Critical Mass Radio Show. I'm your host, Rick Franzi. As you know, if you were listening before the break, Harris Glasser is our first guest on this segment. His book, It's My Money and I Want It, is what we're going to talk about here in a moment. But first, I'd like to thank and acknowledge our listeners who download our show as a podcast. You've downloaded over 14,000 shows during the last 30 days, and we here at the program appreciate your continued and growing support. All of our shows can be heard live on internet radio station octalkradio.net or rebroadcast anytime from iTunes, Stitcher.com, Spreaker.com, and other business-oriented podcasting services. All right, Harris, before the break, as I was going to ask you to tell us about your inspiration for writing the book.
Yes. When I was 20 years old, I asked my dad, how much money do I need to be rich? He said, Harris, if you'll always spend $1 less than you earn, you'll always be rich. However, if you always spend $1 more than you earn, I don't care how much you earn, you are always going to be poor.
Wow.
Now, fast forward many, many, many years later, a friend of mine said, Harris, you live better than rich people. I said, why? He said, because you manage to live better, have more, easier life than rich people slaving away. And that goes back, that was what I said before, there was something my high school teacher said to me. He saw a quality in me, which he said, Harris, you're always going to be successful in whatever you do because you always find the best and the easiest ways to do things. And that's what I've done my whole life. Okay? Finding the best and easiest ways to do things has allowed me, without earning zillions of dollars, to have an incredible life, to travel where I want, when I want, to eat out when I want. Not buying jet airplanes, not necessary. Having an incredible life. And so people with their existing income, who may be, using 90% of their income for survival, cost of living, and 10% maybe for entertainment, okay? It's to teach them what I did, how that 90-10 can become 65-35.
Okay.
Without, I need more money, I'd love to take a vacation, whoa. Okay, you can do all that. So the inspiration behind the book was, for decades, I was teaching people, helping people in business with their problems and personal life. And then my son said, Dad, come on, you got to put this into a book.
Okay.
You need to book this. Everyone is struggling. And, you never made zillions of dollars. You've had a wonderful life. You have to show other people how they can do that. And I don't care if you're... as long as you're someone who handles money, I don't care if you're on unemployment or a big money roller, okay? You're going to walk away with something from the book.
That's what I was going to ask you. Who should read it?
If you handle money, you should read it.
Okay.
And I'm not talking about you're going to learn to budget your money. That's, great. You're going to learn how to get what Pim Fox on Bloomberg Taking Stock called me. He said, this is the man who teaches us how to squeeze more juice out of our orange.
Nice. That's a heck of a compliment.
Oh, yeah, coming from Pim Fox.
From Pim Fox, right. So how long did it take you from the time that your son inspired you to begin the process till you had the book ready to be...
That's several years.
Okay.
That's a piece of work, because also... my sons who are reading the book, they go, hey, Dad, how about, do you remember people you walked through who had IRS audits? And you walked them through that? You got to do a chapter on that. Or a perfect example is naturally building a business from 0 to 80 cars, reducing it to 48, and then making more money, working easier. How do you do that one, right? Everyone thinks they have to work hard and get
bigger is better.
Oh, no. Oh, my God. I can't. It's amazing how you could work less and easier and make more money. A perfect example is people say, hey, I'm in business 40 years, made X amount of millions of dollars. What are you going to tell me? I was on a job. I was working with the engineer from the government, and we passed my head carpenter installing a door frame. And he said to him, hey, Joe, you're installing that door frame wrong. Not that it wouldn't stand up, but as per government specs. And Joe, the elderly carpenter, said to the young engineer, what are you telling me? I've been doing it like this for 40 years. And the young engineer said, well, Joe, then for 40 years, you've been doing it wrong. So just because you're doing a certain way, you've been successful, doesn't mean you've been doing it right. Maybe you could have worked easier. Maybe you could have made twice as much money. It's for everybody, the book.
So you're applying your philosophy of working and finding the best way to do things to money, to business, to life.
to collection companies who are after you for debts. How to make them leave your life and never come back. I'm not advocating don't pay your bills. I'm just saying, you don't need that. Easy ways to deal with all these things.
At what age in your life did you start to realize there's got to be a better way to do something and then start to do this? Was this a teenage thing? Was it a kid? Do you remember, how far back in your life this philosophy?
It was a teenage
Because this is a
thing.
life philosophy, not a business philosophy, right?
That's right. That's exactly right. Because it also has to do with your quality of your life, your relationships. It's applicable to everything, not just money. Doing things the easiest. For instance, in your relationships, marriage is bunk heads, right? Rate of divorce is 50 some odd %. Okay, but I know if I do everything I can, right, to make my wife happy, if she's happy, guess what? She's going to be easy to be around. I'm going to be happy, right?
Right.
And so, in life, in business, whatnot, it's not necessarily about being right. My dad taught me, great one, he says, better to be wrong than right. You see, whenever you're right, you've learned nothing. When you're wrong, now you're going to learn something. So allow the other to hear the other person. I took advice from my two sons. We went back in contracting. Had been away for years. Like I said, we had the car rental.
Yeah.
Okay, and we have a little contracting business. Took them up to one of the government agencies, and they said, "Hey, Dad, why don't we bid this work?" I go, "No, factory manufacturers bid that direct." They said, "No, go ahead." And I started, based upon my 40 years of experience, to pose an argument, and I remembered my own teachings just because I was doing it a certain way for 40 years.
Right.
I said, "You're right. How about if I tell you we picked up contracts that are now going into 15 years that have brought in millions of dollars of work, all because you fresh young eyes, I listened to them." So it's not about being right. It's about staying open, listening.
Right.
It was great.
Well, that's a lot of what I do for a living here in Southern California is help business owners surround themselves with other people who can give them advice without any desire to gain from the advice they give them.
That's right.
Masterminds, roundtables, I call them CEO peer groups. That was my first book. I think a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners can get a lot of valuable insight if they just ask questions and listen to the answers.
Right, and the answers can come from anyone. Like, hey, my two sons who knew nothing about, I was just starting to teach them contracting, right? And they said, "Hey, it doesn't cost anything to put in some bids. Here we are. We've got a 5-year contract, renewed another 5, and now another 5.
So, Harris, if someone wants to read your book, what would you tell them there? We've already talked about a lot of what they're going to take away from that. Is there anything else in reading your book that there's a major takeaway that we haven't had?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Great question. They're going to learn to stand up for themselves. For instance, if you brought your car into a garage, hey, the engine is making all kinds of noise. Fix it. He fixes it. He gives you a bill for $1,200. Would you just give him a check? Wouldn't you want to know what took place?
Of course.
You may even want to see the used parts.
Right.
But some reason, for instance, I'll use medical bills. People have huge medical bills. They get a bill from a hospital. And it's like, no one would dare question a hospital. Nonsense. And the book goes into that, how if you just question, like I said, stand up for yourself. Question. You cannot believe how you'll cut your hospital bills, your medical bills. I'm saying minute bills and things come from banks, come from anywhere. We back off and we think, whoa, no. They're going to walk away learning to stand up for themselves, to question everyone, everything, every institution, and they're going to be blown away like, oh my God, that was easy. The collection company ran away. The medical bills, oh my God, just got cut in half.
Right.
They're going to walk away with an empowerment. And it's a funny thing. Once you do any one of these things and you feel better about yourself, now what happens, that's right, it's a domino effect. Right. It starts to domino into every aspect of your life. And the next thing comes along, it's like, oh, gee, I got it. But no. And you go for it.
Right.
I had a friend of mine, it's a small thing. She had left her job. They gave her some severance pay, whatever it was. She wasn't happy with it, but whatever. Then she said, "I read your book." And even though there's no story about it, she said it was written between the lines in your book. It really is about standing up for yourself. And she went back to this big firm. She stood up for herself. She says, "I know what Harris would do." She says, "I walked out with another check." They're going. So that's what you're going to learn, to stand up for yourself.
It's simple. Like sometimes you're going to buy something and you really want it, and you see the price, and even if the price is reasonable, it doesn't hurt to ask, "Is this your best price?" Just a question like that, and they could say yes, that's our best price. But it is amazing to me how many times they go, "Well, I could probably give you another 5% off."
And even if they don't, you say, okay, let me get back to you. I'm going down the block. I have a story in that book on the art of negotiating. Okay? Yes. And believe me, they need your sale more than you need the purchase.
Right.
I do updates on all the social sites and every month on people who buy the book. And there's a couple of them which is handling is the new in. And if you're not haggling, you're losing money.
Wow.
It's getting to be like in the East. It's expected.
Right.
It's absolutely.
It's built into the price.
That's right.
Because there's an assumption
and if you
there.
don't, you're paying for something you don't need to.
Okay. So we're talking to CEOs of business owners and of smaller middle market companies. Now they're thinking, hey, I could learn something from reading Harris's book. How do they find it?
Okay. It's simple. It's www.harrishelps.org. HARRIS. Harrishelps.org. The website, the video, a world of they're going to love it. I can tell you, they're going to love it because it's filled with true stories of everything. There's no concepts in there.
Right.
Everything in there works.
Practical.
It's been done before. If you need instructions for the particular thing, I give you what to say, how to handle it. It's all written out. A high school person can read it and just run with it.
Okay. Even a young person like our producer, a millennial with a reasonable limited experience, or a dinosaur like our engineer.
Oh yeah. I think
spans that's the kind of demographic it spans. Huh?
That's it. Basically, yeah.
There you go.
Especially best for college students.
Fixed income people, right?
And fixed income people.
Sounds
wow.
Well,
all of a sudden they find they have more money left over at the end of the week. And it's like they didn't do anything different in terms of not buy the thing. They just did it differently. And all of a sudden they're paying less every day for things. And all of a sudden there's money left over at the end of the month, at the end of the year. It's like, oh my God, I could suddenly take that vacation.
Harris Glasser, it's my money and I want it. And the website is?
HarrisHelps.org.
I want to thank you for being a friend of the program. Thanks for coming in and sharing your experiences with us, and welcome to the Critical Mass community, my friend.
A pleasure, absolute pleasure to be here.
Thank you. We're going to be right back after these words from our commercial sponsors, ladies and gentlemen.